What's up guys, it's your boy Alex, and today we have an exciting topic to talk about: element and status effect tier list. Elements can make or break your builds, so let's rank them based on their effectiveness in different situations. In Warframe there are 4 primary elements: heat, cold, toxin and electricity. These can be combined to create viral gas, corrosive magnetic blast and radiation. Then we also have physical statuses, also known as IPS, impact, puncture and slash. And finally we got void and true damage, which we will briefly mention as well. Now let's start ranking them from worst to best. Keep in mind that this tier list is subjective and based on my experience. Your opinion might differ based on your preferences, and that's okay. Starting off strong with the worst status in the entire game: Blast. The damage modifier is good against very few enemy types, in my opinion good against nothing. On top of that, the only thing the effect does is reduce enemy accuracy. It caps at a miserable 75% too, so it's nowhere near good enough for it to be a reliable crowd control. You know what? Since no other statuses will be in F tier, I think this is a reasonable thing to do. Up next, Impact. It's strong against Corpus, it staggers the enemies, allowing you for easier finisher kills. And most importantly, it allows the usage of mods like Hemorrhage. But then again, we're not talking about Slash right now, we're talking about Impact. In the end of the day, it's somewhat lackluster, but it's not atrocious, deserved D tier. Magnetic. Also strong against Corpus, it increases damage done to shields. It's pretty significant damage boost, scaling 100 to 325%, but there is better ways going around enemy shields. Very mid status effect in my humble opinion, and it gets a spot in the D tier as well. Next up on the list we have Gas, the first DOT so far, insanely strong against Infested. The effect makes 3 meter gas clouds, which increases to 6 meters at 10 stacks, which is pretty solid radius. But here comes the weakness of Gas, it caps at 10 stacks, unlike Heat or Toxin. Builds based around Gas can indeed work in combination with some other DOT elements, but keep in mind that you need a way to CC the enemies so they stand in your gas clouds as well. It's not incredible, but it's not that bad, so we will be putting it at the top of the D tier for now. Puncture. Good against a decent amount of enemies in the game. The effect used to only reduce enemy damage done, which is pretty bad, but some time ago D decided to buff it. Currently it gives you 25% additive crit chance at max stacks, which can be very good in some builds. It also opens up some build diversity options as well. I didn't really have much time to test it so far. I wasn't exactly sure where I should put it, C or D tier. In the end I think high D tier is the right choice as of now. Void. Good against Sentience and Eximus units. There is not really a plus or minus damage modifier for this effect. The only way to do void damage is either using Operator Amp or Zata's Whisper from the Warframe Zaku. The effect makes a bubble over the enemy that is basically a bullet attractor, and you can auto-hit headshots for handless gameplay. Void damage can go crazy if you combine it with certain Zariman weapons and faction mods, pretty much killing enemies 100 times and over for some reason. This effect was very hard to evaluate since it's very neutral, but the exploitative combination makes it ridiculous, so I will put it somewhere around middle of the list in the C tier. Electricity. Good against Corpus. The effect is a damage over time that spreads and shocks nearby enemies in a 3 meter radius, basically creating a field of crowd control. The damage is not that great on armored targets, but then again, it's a DOT and a CC tool all in one, which makes it above average status. Damage does start being solid once you add some multipliers like Roar to the mix. A lot of people underestimate this status, but I do advise you to try and experiment with it a little bit. Example where you can make a build around electricity is Xoris. An incredible early game weapon that you can get already at MR4. I like to call it /IKEA edition. If you close your eyes and really believe it, it might as well be. Our first Copium B tier. Now we're getting to the strong stuff, Radiation. A whooping 75% damage against alloy armor, making it really good against heavily armored Grineer, which is the type of enemies that you would struggle killing probably. And the effect is not to be ignored. It confuses the enemies, making them shoot their teammates. At 10 stacks, enemies have an incredible boost of 550% damage to friendly fire. So not only is this status basically a crowd control, but enemies would also kill each other, making it very powerful. You really don't want to use this element all the time, but when you do, it's very strong. For example, on Epitaph. Pair it with Viral, and you have enemy debuff plus CC machine. Deserved B tier. Cold. Now you might be surprised by how highly I value Cold, but I really believe the recent buffs have pushed it this far. Now you get extra 50% crit damage with max stacks, on top of it being one of the only CCs in the game that affects almost every enemy, including Demolists. It's strong against shields, and DE recently has released some solid new arcanes that require Cold for them to work. The slow at max stacks is 90%, which is basically a hard CC at that point. It also slows everything the enemy does, meaning they will hit you far less often. It's strong against shields, and the recently has released some solid new arcanes that require cold for them to work. Very straightforward element with a very simple and powerful effect. Epitap has forced cold procs, making it one of the best status weapons in the whole game. I mean, look at that. It's literally bullying at this point. Don't do too much damage, lil bro. Deserved B tier. Toxin. Corpus killing machine. Has a damage over time effect which bypasses shields and stacks indefinitely. Good against unarmored Grenier too, making it playable on both sides. It's basically magnetic but not bad, wow. I somehow don't have much to add here, it's a primary element making it easy to mod for it, and it just does its job really well. You will find best use of this status on weapons that have innate viral or toxin, giving you freedom of building optimally. A solid A tier pick. And now we are getting to the top of the charts, corrosive. The damage modifiers are good against Grenier and Infested, but let's be honest, it's really good against all factions. The effect provides 80% armor strip at 10 stacks, making it an incredible choice for base steel path missions. Armor strip is by far the biggest damage boost you can get in the whole game. Yes, I know, it's not 100% armor strip, but 80% is enough for practically all content in the game if we are not talking about endurance. Let's not forget how effective corrosive is at killing liches and acolytes. Very effective. You just can't go wrong with corrosive. Are you lazy? You don't wanna switch your build like ever? Just go corrosive. Simple, strong A tier. Heat. Wow, Alex Stream, you put heat so high in the list, but my beloved gas is so low. Hey, you don't wanna be that guy. Infinite scaling damage over time, crowd control and armor strip. Works well against all factions. Best paired with viral for reasons I will explain when we get to viral section. And it works with corrosive as well, making the armor strip go as high as 90% with both of these at the same time. Just apply heat on your enemies and watch them melt like butter. Just an incredible primary element that's used a lot in endgame builds. Any weapon with good status chance, multi-shot and fire rate can abuse this. Yeah, I'm looking at you. And more. Tippity top of A tier. And finally, we're looking at one of the best statuses in the whole game. Slash. Universally insane status effect. It's good against absolutely everything. Slash procs do true damage, meaning that it completely ignores armor and it also scales indefinitely. Now you know why one of the best melee weapons in the game is Glaive Prime. It has forced slash procs on heavy attacks, making it do absurd consistent AoE damage. The first thing you check on your gun or melee is the disposition of IPS. If you see that it leans heavily on slash, you already know that the weapon is good. Any endgame loadouts will use hunter munition as well to maximize the amount of slash procs. Remember kids, when life gives you slash... Okay, that's enough of slash memes, but really you get the point. Easy S tier. And finally, the best element in the entire game. Viral. Its effect increases enemy damage taken by up to 325% at 10 stacks. Even at 1 stack it increases by 100%, meaning you literally double your damage with only 1 stack of viral. This scales incredibly well with your DOTs, crit chance, multi-shot, faction mods, Warframe ability buffs, pretty much everything. And not to mention when you combine it with slash or heat, it just destroys everything. If you dare add armor strip to the mix too, you can kill any level enemy within seconds. You know what I said, that you can't go wrong with corrosive? Well, that is even more true with viral. The only place where you probably don't want to run it is Infested Disruption, because Infested Demolishers are immune to it. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, who in their right mind plays Infested? Absolute S+ tier. And there you have it, our Warframe element / status tier list. Remember, Warframe is all about experimenting, so feel free to try different combinations and find what works best for you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share it with your fellow Tenno, and of course subscribe if you want to see more Warframe content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.